Okay, so this is a demo for how to use the online play beta. This is the first screen you're going to see. It shows you the latest version of the game. Right now the game is being updated pretty frequently, so this is the best place to go, and unless there's a reason that you can't play the most recent version, you probably should play it. So I'm going to click here on the most recent version, and it's going to take me to the first screen in which I can join an existing battle that's going on, either one that's been created out here as a public battle where somebody is looking for an opponent, or one that you've already created that's running in the background. I've got one here, so I could rejoin that if I wanted to, but I'm going to go ahead and do the other option, which is create a new battle. So I just click here where it says create a new battle, and now I'm going to choose what deck I want to play. And up at the top here you can see these BB search decks, okay? And in the middle are my personal decks, decks that I've created in the BB search deck builder. And in the bottom here are decks that have been submitted by the user community, okay? And I'm just going to go ahead and choose one of the BB search decks. You can also click here to make it a private game, and if you do that, let me just go back one page, it won't show up here in this area. If you leave that unchecked, as soon as you create that game and you're waiting for an opponent to join you, your game will show up here. So since I don't want someone to jump into this game, I'm going to go ahead and make it private. And I'm going to choose Gyarados on my end. So this is the screen that you see when you've created a game and you're just waiting for an opponent to join you. Alright? So there's a couple of ways that you can get your opponent to join. You can click this link here, and that will email you this link up here, which if someone were to click on that, they would join this game. If you don't want to use email, if you want to use instant messenger or something, you can click this link. It'll highlight the URL up here, and you can copy and paste it into your program of choice. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to open a new tab in my browser. I'm going to paste that link in. You probably can't see that, and this is what your opponent will see. It looks very similar to the screen that you just went through. So basically this is your opponent choosing what deck they're going to play. So same choices here, the built-in decks, the custom decks, and the user community decks. Alright, I'm going to choose the Algachump. So I'm going to join the game. Alright, now this is the actual game board. You can see both game mats. In the bottom in the blue is you, the player, and in the top is your opponent in red. Alright, you'll notice that there's a dialog box popped up here that says your cards are going to be placed face down. Alright, basically that's how you start the game with your basics active and on the bench, and that way your opponent can't see them. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start playing. I'm going to get set up. There's a couple ways I can do this. I can just drag and drop a card, 7 cards, into my hand, and as I do that, they flip over. Alright, if I switch back over to my opponent for a second, you can see that to the opponent they're still face down. Okay. Now, just for the sake of the demo, I'm going to drag these back up onto the deck, and I'm going to show you a little bit faster way to get set up. You click up here on the menu, go to the game menu, and choose Setup. It's going to ask you if you want to draw 7 cards and put out 6 prizes. Say OK. And it's going to go ahead and draw 7 and play 6. And again, if I flip over to my opponent's screen, you can see that these are all face down. Now there's a mulligan, so I'm going to click on New and shuffle my hand back into my deck, and I'm going to set up again. Okay, and I have a Smeargle, so I'm going to put that out, and it goes face down. Since I'm done playing basics and I want any other cards that I put down in the future to go face up automatically for me, I'm going to say I'm done playing basics. Okay? If I flip over to my opponent, I can do the same kind of setup. put Sableye out, and then I'll say I'm done playing basics. And now we're both set up. One thing to note, there is no in-game chat system yet, so you need to be in communication with your opponent when you play. So that could either be on a phone, Skype, Instant Messenger, whatever, but you need to have some way to communicate with your opponent before you start playing. Alright, so to roll to see who goes first, this blue square here is a dice. If I drag that onto the mat, it's going to bounce, and it's going to come up with heads. Okay, so let's say I called heads. I'll flip over. Of course, with Sableye, I would have gone first anyway. Flip back to my opponent, and flip Smeargle over. And I will go ahead and draw for my turn. Unknown Q. I'll put that on my bench. And I will impersonate. So to search your deck, you can go up here to the search menu and choose search deck. The cards in your deck will pop up, and I'm going to impersonate Collector, and I'm going to get 2 Magikarps, and I'm going to go ahead and get a Mesprit, and I'll just close and shuffle. I'll put a Magikarp on my bench and one in my hand, and I'll put the Mesprit down so I can Psychic Bind. If I'm not sure what a card does, if I can't quite read it, if it's too small, I can double click on it and I'll get the full image popping up. Okay, you can do the same thing for your opponent. So if I double click on Smeargle, he'll pop up and I can read his card. Let's just assume for a second that someone damaged me. The way to put damage counters is to drag this orange damage counter up onto your Pokemon, and you can see there's a menu that pops up with a plus or minus. You can click on that, or you can just double click on the damage counter itself and put damage out. Okay, and if I'm burned or poisoned, easiest way to do that is through one of these markers. Right, the markers don't necessarily stick on the card, so when you're done you can just drag them back onto the area there. And when you're done with the card, let me put Smeargle back out, you just discard it by dropping it in your discard area. You can search your discard, clicking on search discard. If I wanted to take that out of my discard, I would just drag and drop it. Okay. If I flip over to my opponent's screen, let's say that I wanted to search my opponent's discard. There's an option for that too. You can see that. Alright. I can view my prizes if I did Azelf Time Walk, and my prizes flip over. If I flip over to the opponent now, you can see that the opponent, the prize area is in red, but the prizes are not flipped over, so the opponent can't see your prizes. And they get a message box telling them that you're looking at their prizes, at your prizes. Okay, I'll flip over and I'll do hide prizes, and it goes back. And if I flip back over, you can notice that the area is no longer red and there's no longer a message. Just to show you that if I search my deck and I look at what my opponent sees a message that says your opponent is searching their deck. And I'll just close and shuffle. If you have a need to return your hand to your deck, let's say someone did Judge, you can just click on Return, and you can quickly draw draw cards through this interface here. The cards will always, if you draw it through this menu, the cards will always be over in the left-hand side. You can easily slide them by doing Arrange Hand. And you'll notice that many of the menu items have shortcut keys. If you see right above the dialog box that pops up, it says shortcut key A. If I hit the A key, the cards will slide over. And then if I wanted to draw more, let's say I press the number 1, which is the hotkey for draw 1, and it'll just show up there. Okay. If I need to show my opponent my hand, I click on Show Opponent, Hand, Show Opponent. My hand shows up as red, and now I can see my opponent's hand. Okay. go back and I'll say hand hide opponent. Alright. And I can shuffle my deck this way. And that's basically it. When I'm done, I can click on active, discard active, or use the hotkey X if I want to quickly knock Sableye out. Okay, and that's pretty much the game. The rest of the game just goes as a normal Pokemon game would, where you're just moving cards around and you're letting your opponent know what they need to do. When you're done, you can just close your browser, or if you want to play again, just do game new, and you can play. You can start playing again with the same decks. If you want to play with different decks, you have to start a new game. And that's it. Have fun.